Hi everyone, welcome to Science Tech Day. Today I'm going to take you through on how to use a soldering iron. But before I go very far, I need to tell you that soldering iron has a tip and has a body. So a soldering iron has a metallic part, but never risk yourself to touch the metallic part when you've connected it to the power source. It has the tip, then it has this metallic body, then this side here where you handle. But you have to know that how to handle this soldering iron. Soldering iron, you handle it the way how you do handle your pens. But, and we also have here its tips, its tip. Then its tip comes in different form, whereby we have the one which is sometimes flat, and then we also have the one which is pinpointed like this one here. And now when you are going to solder, we have different tools we have to use when we are going to solder. For example, you have to have the plier or the cutter. Then we also have to have a stripper. In case you don't have a stripper, you can use a combined plier or a cutter to strip your wire. Then we should also have a soldering wire. This is our solder. Then we should also have a flux, but for the case of us here, we don't have flux because we are sure of our soldering wire. It's having some flux on it, so we can use it like this. But remember, you have to know that there are some other soldering iron which doesn't have flux on it. So for it, when you want to, even if you try to melt it on a metal, it won't remain there. So for it, you can't use it without flux. So you have to first of all add in some flux, then after that, then you solder. Then we should also have, you can also have an insulating tape in case, and then you can begin to solder what you want to solder. For example, right now we have here our wire. So for you, this wire for you, when you want to combine these wires very well, these two wires, you have to first of all have to strip this wire. Then after stripping this wire very well, you combine them together. So how do they strip this wire? Like for the case of this wire here, this one is very small. You can even strip it with your hand. So for you to strip this wire very well, you should make sure that you shouldn't break the wires inside here because you will weaken it. So you have to make sure that there's not any wire, the strength of this wire is broken. So you should make sure that it's intact and there's not any wire which is broken. Its strength is still. So for the case of this wire here, it's very small. So for this small one, I can strip it using my fingernail. So you strip it like this. Then we have this one. Then also this one, we also strip it. Then after stripping it, you connect. We connect them together. We connect them together. So then after that, we connect our soldering iron to the power source to make it first of all heat. Then after this soldering iron heating, you have to clean your soldering iron very well. But now when you are cleaning this soldering iron, you have to always use either a sponge or something like a cloth, something which is soft, because now you need not to make your tip get spoiled quickly. And then after you're cleaning the tip of your soldering iron, there's what we call a tinning in soldering. So tinning, that's adding in some coating of a solder on a tip of a soldering iron. So we need to add here in order to make our soldering iron to actually solder very well and to make it not remain some soldering on the tip of a soldering iron. So we are still waiting for our soldering iron to heat, and make sure that the soldering iron you are using doesn't have too much temperature. The temperature is not high, so you have to use a temperature which is actually good. because it can sometimes even burn your component in case it has a high temperature, so it can burn your component. So you have to make sure that you regulate. So this is what we call staining. This is what we call tinning. You clean this the tip of this this soldering iron. Then after cleaning it very well, we bring our wire. This is our wire. We've already stripped the other time. Then after, you combine them together through doing like this. But what you have to remember very well, that when you are soldering, you have to make sure that you first have to bring your soldering iron to where you want to solder. Like for example here, then you hit it, you bring it here, you first bring the tip of the soldering iron here, then you hit where you are going to solder. Then after hitting it, you bring your soldering wire on it. Like this, you have to hit it to make sure that you solder very well. This is how they solder. Then after finishing, after adding in your solder, you first have to remove the wire, the soldering wire. Then after that, you remove the soldering iron also. And you have to leave it for some time for it to cool. Because now, if you don't leave it for some time to cool, you'll get when the soldering wire is still wet and it's still not dried. But now when I talk of dry and wet, there's a difference between wet and dry joints in electronics, whereby a wet joint, that's a joint which is not connected or which is somehow loose, and then dry, that's a joint which is intact or which is connected. So that's so after soldering, you can either use an insulating tape, or you can use a heat shrink to cover up this part here we've soldered. And then some other people also use silicone to add in here in order to make it a waterproof, in that water can't enter inside here. They put in some silicone, then after they bring in our shrink here, then it's inside here. Then after they heat it, then after that, your wire will be very strong. I think that's all about soldering for today. Then next time I will take you through other things, how to solder, how to rectify a dry joint, and how to rectify a wet joint on boards and so on. So keep tuned, stay tuned. Science Tech will still help